What is going on, internet world? My name is Tommy. You probably know me as Rivet, and I'm your coach of the Atlanta Braviaries, the highest flying, flyest looking team on YouTube. We are here today with our Week 5 battle of the PCC against Coach Ja and the Donphan Wizards. This is going to be a great match. Welcome to the workshop. Alrighty guys, we are here breaking down our Week 5 matchup of the PCC against the Donphan Wizards and Coach Ja. He's got a really scary team, but I think we have a solid squad to take him on this week. Little note before we get into that, after 2 disappointing losses, I did decide to make 2 transactions on the team. I dropped Starmie for Politoed, and I dropped a Venomoth for Alolan Raichu, so shifting a little bit towards more of a rain team, or just a little bit of that element, I guess. And giving us a little bit more of a defensive water that I enjoy. I have used Tornadus there in rain before. I think that's a very good option. I think Ferrothorn also appreciates the rain as well. So I'm really liking the additions to the team, and I hope they work out. But with that out of the way, let's hop into this team breakdown. His first Pokemon is Latios, an incredibly scary dragon and psychic type with the Levitate ability. It's a phenomenal wall breaker and cleaner with a great dual stab in Draco Meteor and Psychic or Psyshock. It gets a phenomenal coverage move pool with stuff like Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Aura Sphere, Mystical Fire, Energy Ball, Surf. It can run Dragon Dance sets, it can run Calm Mind sets, it can Roost for longevity, defog hazards away, and run choice items incredibly effectively. Ja really likes Choice Scarf Latios. That's probably the set I'm expecting today, as it outspeeds Choice Scarf Blacephalon and can do a bunch of damage to other things in my team with its coverage. It can also trick into stuff like Ferrothorn and Sylveon to keep them from doing their jobs as effectively. So definitely expecting Latios this week. I got to scout what set it is, confirm that it's Choice Scarf, or if he switches it up, and play around it accordingly. Next up is Mega Aerodactyl, an incredibly threatening rock and flying type with a Tough Claws ability. It's an absolutely monstrous cleaner in the late game with 130 base attack, 150 speed, and the Tough Claws ability combined with a great move pool. Dual Wing Beats and Stone Edges hit incredibly hard. It also gets other great coverage moves such as Earthquake, the Elemental Fangs. It can set up with Dragon Dance and Hone Claws and do a bunch of stuff. After a Dragon Dance in the late game, there's not a whole lot that outspeeds it and is able to take it on, so I got to manage that thing incredibly well, make sure that it can't beat me in the late game, and I got to keep my pieces around it healthy for it. Next up is Tangrowth, a very physically defensive grass type with the Regenerator ability. It's got massive HP and defense stats, as well as solid attacking stats as well. Its speed and special defense are rather lackluster, however it can run a Solfest to patch that up. It's got a good move pool, stuff like Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb, Earthquake, Knockoff, Rock Slide. It can set Leech Seeds, it can Synthesis. It can also Regenerator out with stuff like Assault Vest and Rocky Helmet to pivot in, take hits, chip stuff down, and then move out. Not really expecting Tangrowth in this match. I think he needs a couple other things on this team, and it doesn't fare super well against some of my bigger threats such as Blacephalon and Tornadus. Next up is Suicune, an incredibly bulky and annoying water type with the Pressure ability. It's got monstrous HP and defenses with the Pressure ability, makes it incredibly viable Stallmon. Gets good moves such as Scald and Ice Beam. It can run Calm Mind sets. It can Toxic with Substitute. It can also run Rest Talk sets as well. Probably expecting Suicune in this match. It switches into Blacephalon fairly easily. It can also switch into a couple other things on my team, such as Politoed and Tornadus. I don't think he has enough open move slots to run fully, just like Crocoon or something like that. I think he probably needs Toxic, because if I were to be running Water Absorb on Politoed and he just ran like only Scald, he wouldn't be able to touch me at all. So I'm probably expecting like a sub-Toxic Scald, maybe rest with just like Chesto, or just rest with Vita with nothing else, just to be annoying. But I got to keep Suicune in mind and make sure I keep my pieces healthy so I don't lose to it. Next up is Arcanine, a very versatile fire type with the Intimidate and Flash Fire abilities. It can run offensive sets with moves such as Flare Blitz, Wild Charge, and Stomping Tantrum, or just specially offensive sets with stuff like Flamethrower. It can also run defensive sets with moves such as Will-O-Wisp and Morning Sun. It can Toxic stuff, sub up. It also gets extreme speed for both sets to prioritize stuff. In this match, I can definitely see Arcanine coming just to threaten Ferrothorn. It can switch in on a bunch of moves rather comfortably. It can Morning Sun up, scare me out with a big Flamethrower, and have something like Toxic for things going into Politoed. Next up is Vikavolt, a very offensive and slow bug and electric type with the Levitate ability. It's a phenomenal pivot with a Volt Switch and also gets good moves such as Thunderbolt, Bug Buzz, and Energy Ball. It can set Sticky Webs as well and Roost for longevity. Definitely got to watch out for Vikavolt this match. If he sets up Sticky Webs, a bunch of my more offensive threats such as Blacephalon do not have a good time fighting them, so I got to make sure I can manage Sticky Webs. If they get up, I got to remove them immediately. Best case scenario is I don't let them get up at all, but definitely got to watch out for Vikavolt nonetheless. Next up is Doublade, a very bulky Steel and Ghost type with the No Guard ability. It's incredibly physically defensive with a combination of its massive base physical defense and the Eviolite item. It can run Swords Dance sets as well. It gets good moves such as Iron Head, Shadow Claw, and Shadow Sneak. It can run a couple other sets as well, but in this match, probably not expecting Doublade. It doesn't do a whole lot for him. He could bring like a Shadow Sneaking set to scare up Blacephalon or something. It also does a decent chunk to Sylveon as well, but I think it can't do enough to some of my other mons, such as Ferrothorn. It doesn't take on Politoed very well, and some other stuff like Flygon. If I was running especially offensive sets, it would hit it very, very hard. So I think he's got a couple better things than Doublade this week. Next up is Scrafty, a very bulky Dark and Fighting type with the Intimidate, Moxie, and Shed Skin abilities. He's got great move pool, stuff like Knock Off, Drain Punch, Close Combat, the Elemental Punches, Poison Jab, Dragon Tail, Rock Slide, I think. It can set up with Dragon Dance, it can also set up with Bulk Up, and it's a phenomenal Assault Vest user. I'm probably expecting an Assault Vest set today. This is one of his better switch-ins to Blacephalon. It can take moves such as Fire Blast fairly comfortably, especially if I'm in rain. And I could trick, a Choice Scarf or a Choice Specs onto him, which he doesn't super love, but he can just come in, absorb a move, scare me out with a big knockoff, potentially set up if he's not something else. If I'm like locked into Shadow Ball, he sets up a Dragon Dance, I'll be in a decent amount of trouble, so I definitely got to watch out for Scrafty this week. Next up is Weezing, a very bulky poison type with the Levitate and Neutralizing Gas abilities. Weezing can do a bunch of different things. It does have a solid move pool, stuff like Sludge Bomb, Flamethrower, and Thunderbolt. It can run defensive sets with Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split. It can set Toxic Spikes, or it can run those more offensive sets. But in this match, probably not expecting Weezing. It doesn't do a whole lot for him. A bunch of my more offensive things kind of mash it. He could bring it again as a switch into Ferrothorn. Try to chip me down with maybe Rocky Helmet or something and scare me with a big Flamethrower. But I think he's got better things for the team this week. Next up is Sandslash, a pretty bulky and versatile ground type with the Sand Rush and Sand Veil abilities. It's a great hazard controller with the ability to set Stealth Rock and Spikes, I believe, and it can rapid spin hazards away. It can threaten pretty hard with moves such as Earthquake and Stone Edge. It can set up with Swords Dance and do a couple other things, but again, Sandslash doesn't do a whole lot against a bunch of my other stuff this week. It can't really touch Ferrothorn or Politoed. A bunch of my other things can kind of come in, set it up on it for free, and scare it out, so I'm not really expecting Sandslash. And then last but not least is Clefairy, a bulky little fairy type with the Magic Guard ability. It's pretty bulky with Eviolite, and it can do some things. It can set Stealth Rocks, Moonblast a couple things. It can set up Calm Minds, Teleport Out, Soft World, and Wish for Recovery. But again, he doesn't really need a Draco switch in this week as my Dragon type is Flygon, and it doesn't do a whole lot against some of my bigger threats. But with all that out of the way, let's hop into what I am bringing this match. Leading us off, we are rocking with Tornadus Therian, Big Rev over here, coming with a Life Orb set this week with Regenerator, Hurricane, Weather Ball, Nasty Plot, and Defog. Max special attack with enough speed to outspeed non-Choice Scarf Latios, and then the rest thrown into bulk. He does not have good switch-ins for Hurricane this week. His flying resist, if I'm not mistaken, is just Mega Aerodactyl and Doublade, and neither wants to take a +2 or just a regular Weather Ball in rain, as you'll see. If I get a Nasty Plot up, I'm threatening a whole bunch of stuff on this team. Pretty much nothing wants to take +2 Life Orb Hurricanes or Weather Balls, and then I just have Defog on there. I didn't necessarily need another move. I initially had Dark Pulse to hit that Doublade, but in rain, Weather Ball does approximately the same amount anyway, and he doesn't necessarily want to switch in Doublade because, Heat Wave, I could knock off Eviolite or Dark Pulse or anything of the sort. So I just brought Defog on here just in case he sets up webs or hazards with anything else on this team. I want to get those out of there as fast as possible. Life Orb just maximizing my damage output. I don't super think I need boots this week. If he's got Stealth Rocks, it's probably on like Sandslash or Clefairy. I don't really think either of those come, so I'm comfortable not running boots, but I really need Rep to do some big work this week and just smash some pulls in this team. Hopefully, if he tries to be a little aggressive with Mega Aerodactyl switching in on a Hurricane, I can pop that thing with a Weather Ball, but otherwise, it just smashes a bunch of other defensive pieces on his team, such as Arcanine. It can possibly do a decent chunk to that Scrafty as well, so I'm really liking Rev this week, and I need him to put in some good work. Next up, we're rocking Cafeolite, the Ferrothorn. Ferro running a physically defensive set this week with Akaberry and Iron Barbs, Gyro Ball, Bullet Seed, Stealth Rock, and Toxic. This is my primary switch into Mega Aerodactyl. Like I said, that thing is an absolute menace in the late game, especially if it sets up a Dragon Dance, so I gotta keep Cafe around and healthy. My Akaberry is there to take a Fire Fang from that thing. He definitely will have it, as otherwise, Dual Wing Beat, he'll be taking a bunch of recoil just from hitting me twice. Stone Edge and Earthquake won't be doing anything, so he needs to have Fire Fang. If I'm in rain with my Akaberry, it doesn't do a whole lot. Even if I burn my Akaberry and I'm still in rain, it still doesn't do a whole lot, and Gyro Ball absolutely mashes that thing, so I definitely think he'll have to scout for it, but got to keep Cafe around. This is also a decent switch in to come in against some other stuff on his team, such as Tangrowth and that Suicune if I really need to. It can also switch in on stuff like Sandslash fairly comfortably, so I got Gyro Ball there to hit a bunch of stuff, like fast stuff on his team, like that Latios and Mega Aerodactyl. Bullet Seed is there for Suicune. If he starts setting up like substitutes and stuff, I have Bullet Seed there. it's like a pretty solid chance. Unless I get like 2 hits, then maybe it doesn't break sub. It's a low chance to. But if I can break sub and get some extra damage on that thing, that'd be super duper cool. I got Stealth Rock on there just to chip some stuff down if he's not running boots on things like Arcanine and Vikavolt. And then I have Toxic first going into that Tangrowth and Arcanine that can come in on this thing pretty much every single time. So really liking Cafe this week. I got to keep my Akaberry intact to make sure that I don't lose to that Mega Aerodactyl, as it's incredibly threatening. Next up, rocking Lacey. The Sylveon. Lacey's running a mixed defensive set this week with leftovers in the Pixelate ability, Hyper Voice, Wish, Heal Bell, and Protect. 248 in HP, 168 in defense, with the Bold Nature and the 92 in special defense. This is my primary switch into Latios. Latios can't really touch me. The worst case scenario is he tricks me a Choice Scarf. If he tricks me a Choice Specs or something like that, I'm going to be hitting a bunch of stuff on this team incredibly hard with Hyper Voice. It limits my ability to do Wish Protect shenanigans and Heal Bell off stuff, but if that's what happens, that's the game we play. Otherwise, Lacey's are looking really, really good. The Heal Up Cafe and Politoed, as you'll see next, to keep them alive to help switch into big things on this team. Heal Bell is there for like Toxics coming off Suicune, Toxics coming off stuff like Arcanine as well. So, and then Protect is obviously just to scout for some stuff, heal myself back up if possible. Definitely don't want to let him set up if I go for Protect if he's like a Calm Mind Latios or something like that. Gotta make sure I play that right. But otherwise, really liking Lacey this week, and I just need to keep that Latios in check. Next up, making his debut, we are rocking FDR the Politoed. FDR is running a speedy support set this week with Damp Rock and the Drizzle ability, Scald, Toxic Haze, and Perish Song. 248 in HP, 136 in defense with the Bold Nature, and then 124 in speed. My speed investment lets me outspeed fully non-invested Suicune, so if he's like behind a sub or something, I can do some stuff. Scald is there for spamming and spreading some burns. Does a decent chunk to a bunch of stuff from this team like that Mega Aerodactyl and Arcanine. Toxic is there for going into Suicune and Tangrowth. It can also go into some other stuff like Scrafty and that Sand Slash. Haze is there to stop him from setting up all sorts of boosts with Suicune and stuff. If he's at like +4/+4, he's not going to be doing a whole lot to me. If I'm in Rain, he might be doing a decent chunk. I do want Rain, not Water Absorb this week, and I'm taking the risk that he won't just body me with Suicune by spamming Scalds. But I also have Perish Song on here. Perish Song is if Suicune gets incredibly out of control or something else gets incredibly out of control. If he's like some really bulky Cosmic Power Clefairy or whatever, and I can't kill it, I can just set a Perish Song, force that thing to switch out. I can do some shenanigans. So really liking FDR this week. I just need him to keep that Suicune in check and provide some opportunities for Rev and Cafe to do good work. Next up, we are rocking Snippet the Drapion. Snippet's running pretty speedy defensive set this week with Black Sludge and Battle Armor, Knockoff, Poison Jab, Taunt, and Toxic Spikes. 248 in HP with 84 in defense, and then 176 in speed with the Jolly Nature. This is a pretty good switch into a couple things in this team. It switches in on Scrafty fairly easily, and I can switch on Doublade as well. Knockoff is really good for removing items on this team. A bunch of stuff doesn't want to lose, like Eviolites or Heavy Duty Boots or anything of the sort. Poison Jab is good for going into stuff like that Tangrowth, especially if he's like especially defensive with Assault Vest. It also hits Clefairy very well. Taunt is there for stuff like Tangrowth that might want to, set lead seeds or do some other stuff. It's also good for stopping Suicune. I do have enough speed on here for fully invested Suicune, so if he's like max speed timid, I can taunt him to stop him from like resting or calm minding or doing some other stuff. And then I've got Toxic Spikes on here as well. He's got a bunch of bulky things that don't necessarily appreciate Toxic Spikes, and his poison type is only semi-grounded. It's Wheezing, which has the ability to run Levitate, and I don't really think it comes this week anyway, so I would love to get some Toxic Spikes up to chip down, stuff like that Tangrowth, that Suicune, that Arcanine, that's Scrafty. I would love to get those up, so I'm probably going to try to lead Snippet as a decent lead, I think, from at least this preview, and Toxic Spikes look really, really good. And last but certainly not least, also making its debut, we are rocking Chocolate, the Alolan Raichu. Chocolate's running a Choice Scarf set this week with Surge Surfer, Thunderbolt, Psychic, Volt Switch, and Knockoff. It's fully invested in both Special Attack and Speedless, so that's me, Speed Tie, fully invested Choice Scarf Latios. Chocolate's main job is to outspeed and Revenge Kill, or at least force out a non-boosted up Mega Aerodactyl. I can come in on that thing, outspeed it, and revenge it really hard with a Thunderbolt or Volt Switch. His ground type is Sand Slash, and I don't really think that comes this week, so I should be able to Volt Switch around this team fairly freely. Thunderbolt is also good for going into that Suicune and hitting that very hard. Psychic is just good for secondary stab. It hits stuff like Tangrowth, it hits that Vikavolt harder, and it's also decent for going to that Wheezing as well. And then I have Knockoff on here. I didn't really need a fourth move. I considered Draining Kiss for that Scrafty, but I'd rather Volt Switch on that thing anyway, or Knockoff it's Assault Vest or something. So I'm running Knockoff just to remove some Eviolites on stuff that comes, or some Boots, or an Assault Vest or something of the sort. So So I'm really hoping the Chocolate can do some good work. I think it has the potential to clean up in the late game, especially if I don't see Choice Scarf Latios. If that Mega Aerodactyl gets up to +1/+1, then obviously I'm not going to be able to do anything. They'll just be able to kill me with an Earthquake, and I'll have to rely on some other stuff like Cafe. But otherwise, Chocolate's a very solid Mon this week, and I hope it does good work. So that is the team we are rocking with for this match. This is definitely going to be really tough. He's got a bunch of really scary things on this team. I would definitely like to win this. We are 2-2, sliding a little bit, so I'd definitely like to get back in the win column to give us some more momentum. But with all that out of the way, let's hop into this match. Alrighty guys, we're about to hop into this Week 5 matchup, the PCC against Coach Ja and the Donphan Wizards. You can see the 6 I expect to bring up on the screen. Latios, Mega Aerodactyl, Suicune, Arcanine, Vikavolt, and that Scrafty. You've seen the 6 I am bringing and why I am bringing them. If you haven't, go check out the team builder. But with all that out of the way, let's hop into this battle. Okay, we do see Doublade instead of Suicune. It'll look cool to see that. Doublade. Not really surprised to see Doublade. It can revenge Blacephalon and try to switch in on some other stuff, but realistically, pretty much everything on my team can handle it, except for Lacey. Lacey doesn't want to take it on. Okay, from a lead perspective, I would probably just expect him to lead Vikavolt to pivot and set webs. I like leading Chocolate. I outspeed everything except for Choice Lati, and I can Volt Switch out on some stuff. I can switch into Lacey on Vikavolt if he's. I'll find out what kind of set he is. If he's boots, if he does set webs, if he's more defensive, or if he's like really offensive. So I think I'll just lead Chocolate. I can Volt Switch incredibly freely. He doesn't have any immunities. If he leads something else, if he leads Latios, I'll probably just switch into Lacey hard. If he leads anything else, I'll probably just Volt Switch. So let's lead Chocolate here. He's gonna lead Arcanine. He's Intimidate. My play is to just Volt Switch into FDR. He'll probably throw off a Toxic here. I could be aggressive and go into Snippet, but I'm going to Volt Switch out. If he goes for E-Speed immediately, it'll chunk, but I doubt he does that. So I'm just going to go for a nice Volt Switch here and calc some investment. He's going to go hard into Doublade. Nice little Volt Switch comes off. Okay, Volt Switch, dude, 37. Yeah, he's just max HP, no defense, or no special defense with Eviolite. So I can do a couple different things here. I can go into Politoed, set up some rain. A Scald would do do a bunch of this thing. He can't super hurt me. I could also go into Torn and set up a nasty plot. I don't necessarily want to do that yet. Let's see. I could also go into Snippet and knock this thing off or try to set some Toxic Spikes. I don't super love that option because half this team, more than half this team, is immune to Toxic Spikes, because I don't really care because he didn't bring Suicune. So I think I like just going into FDR. I'll set up some rain, go for a nice little Scald here. He doesn't really have anything that wants to take it, and this will do a lot. He shouldn't be able to touch me too hard. So if he goes for Toxic, then that's fine, but let's get a nice little Scald off. If he switches into pretty much anything else, it doesn't super want to take it, so let's go for a Scald. DW with a sword. So that begs the question, is DW one of the swords and the other sword is in the possession of the first sword, which is also DW? Or is DW like the crest? Or DW, alright, he's just going to switch into Volt. This is not going to take this super well. 45. Alright, we don't see leftovers. Again, this thing is max HP, nothing else. He's probably modest. Obviously, anything he can do is going to smack me. I can't kill this thing. He can either Roost or Volt Switch. My play is to go into Lacey. Nothing he can do can really hurt me. Gonna go knife right for Volt Switch, 30%. That was a max roll on modest, like boots. And he's gonna go straight into Doublade. I can do a couple different things here. I can go back into Politoed. I can go into Snippet as well. Snippet's fairly not super useful. I can set some Toxic Spikes, or I can just go for a knockoff. So let's go into Snippet here. It can take this on relatively comfortably. He's going to set up an SD. That's okay. I can go into FDR later, or I can go just into Cafe. But I'm going to go for a nice little knockoff here. I'll knock off this thing's Eviolite, 31. The next one will kill. He's going to go for a Gyro Ball. Oh, wow. All right, well, that's unfortunate. I can't believe that immediately just killed me, but I'm just going to go into FDR here. I can click Scald and pick up the kill. If he goes for Shadow Sneak, it shouldn't do that much. But let's just click Scald. Yeah, I forgot that this thing got Gyro Ball. Shadow Sneak, not doing too much. And Scald's going to come off and pushing off. Yeah, Volt's going to come back out. I can go back into Lacey and just absorb this. I can Wish, do some other stuff. I wouldn't be surprised to see Aero come out here. Or I can go into Arcanine. Yeah, he's going to go into Aero. My play is to immediately go into Cafe. If he sets up, that's okay. If he goes straight for Fire Fang, I'm going to burn my berry, but it's not the end of the world. Mega. He's going to go for Stone Edge, does nothing. I can do a couple different things here. I can set rocks, or I can go for Gyro Ball. He'll probably just go into Scrafty. I could also Toxic Scrafty coming in. I could also double into Lacey on Scrafty coming in. Or I could click Gyro Ball. Because if he, he knows that I'm probably Akaberry. I don't want to burn my berry. I'm just going to go for Gyro Ball on the off chance he stays in. No, he's going to go into Arcanine, that's fine. And I'm going to go... I can go into Rev. He's definitely not going to go for a fire move here. That's the thing. I am losing. This is not going so hot. I'm going to go back into Politoed and get my rain back up. Then I'll probably double into Torn on some stuff coming out. Probably Vikavolt. If he doubles now into Vikavolt, that'd be a good play. He's just going to go for Wild Charge. Oh, he killed me. Wow, he's offensive. Alright, but I gotta go into Rev here and click Weather Ball. Best case scenario is that Marrow comes out. I could also click Nasty Plot, but I don't want to do that. Worst case scenario is Latios comes out, Volt's gonna come out, he's gonna die. Well, I should have set up a Nasty Plot there. But now my rain is on a timer. So Latios comes out. I don't know if Lacey can take 2 moves. I know your choice, Scarf, obviously. You can go for a Draco. That'll do a lot. Thunderbolt doesn't kill me. If he goes for Draco after Life Orb recoil, I'll die. But also, I don't kill this thing with a Hurricane, so I'm just going to go straight into Lacey. Hold on, I got to check how much this is going to do. 2 Psychics. 2 Psychics, it's a 50-50 if it kills me. I don't think he goes for Psychic, though. I bet he just probably goes for T-Bolt or Ice Beam. I'm going to go into Lacey and try to heal up. Ice Beam, yeah. Don't freeze me. Okay. My play is to click Wish. Arcanine's going to come out. I'm going to Wish up. And I got to click Protect. I now don't have a switch into this thing, so he's going to Morning Sun. Not going to get too much back, but... Alright, if he goes for Wild Charge into Torn, I'll probably die. He was very offensive. He's Life Orb, yeah, that's why. Definitely should have gotten those rocks up. That was a mistake, because this thing is Life Orb. A Wild Charge, definitely. It has a very good chance to kill me. Anything else has a very good chance to kill Chocolate. Goes for Flare Blitz. Even in rain, it does an ass ton. But, like, Sylveon cannot touch this thing. Like, Hyper Voice barely does anything. Like, realistically, he's in rain. He can't touch me either. I could also try to Wish into Chocolate. I'm going to stay in and go for Wish. He's going to click E-Speed. 32. Doesn't do a lot. He's going to take Life Orb. And I'm just going to click... I can go into Chocolate now. Because my rain's about to end. And I'm in a really bad spot. I expected Politoed to take that Wild Charge way better than he did. I don't know what I was thinking, but... Also, Snippet just dying so hard. Because Snippet could have taken this on a little bit better. Also, I should have gotten Spikes up. But... I'm going to stay and go for Hyper Voice. Just get a Morning Sun. Yeah, my rain's about to end. Realistically, I got to get Torn in. I got to get him in now. I mean, this is my last turn, so I'm going to have to try to hit a Hurricane. Because I don't have rain on anything else. Man, this is not going well at all. I don't know if I can beat this Arcanine. Man, I really needed those Toxic Spikes. I'm in a bad spot. And now Flare Blitz is going to be able to macerate stuff because I stalled out my own rain. Wow. I really screwed the pooch. Thunderbolt does literally nothing to this thing. Extreme Speed doesn't ass ton. Both Flare Blitz and Wild Charge kill Rev. Or they have a very good chance to kill Rev. I gotta go into it though. He's gonna Flare Blitz me. He got a max roll. I don't know what it, unless he's adamant. If that was Jolly not adamant, that was a very not good chance to kill me. If he was adamant, that was a decent chunk, but I've literally lost. So I'm gonna Volt Switch. Man, I should have. Alright, I can do a couple different things here. If he goes for Flare Blitz here into Cafe, he'll die because of Recoil, Barbs, and Life Orb. And I should be able to take one. It's just a matter of Marrow. I'm going to go into Cafe and see if I can kill him, because if I lose Lacey, I can't beat Latios. And Lacey doesn't take this super well either. I mean, he's going to take a bunch of recoil. But then Marrow comes out. Just, oh shit, what do I want to do? I mean, he's going to Morning Sun here. He's going to be able to beat me anyway. I'm going to go into Cafe. Yeah, he's going to Morning Sun. Yeah, he just still killed me. I gotta go into Chocolate. I gotta click T-Bolt, but Scrafty's literally still at full. Okay, well, it took my entire team, but that thing's dead. I'm gonna stay in and click Thunderbolt. That didn't do nearly enough. Oh my god. Now I'll go into Lacey and click Hyper Voice. If he's got Roost, it's over. He probably does. Stun Edge. Alright, well. This thing's dead. Here's the question. Can my Sylveon 1v1 a Latios and a Scrafty? I doubt it. But that Latios is Choice Scarf. It just depends on what that Scrafty set is. If he's offensive, like Dragon Dance with like Poison Jab or Iron Head, I'm definitely done. Yeah, Scrafty's going to come out. I mean, he could be Roselli Berry. If he's got Iron Head, does 42 max. So I'm going to be at 12. I'm not going to have... I can Protect on Latios, but then Psychic would kill me. If I click Hyper Voice... If I click Protect... He's definitely set up. I think I've lost. I'm going to click Protect. If he sets up a Dragon Dance, then okay. No, he's only... Thunder Punch is his best move to hit me. Click Hyper Voice. Oh, I was faster. He's got no bulk. I mean, no speed. Man. If I somehow manage to win, I don't deserve it. Latios comes out. Click Hyper Voice. This won't kill. But Energy Ball, 23. Alright, click one more. Hopefully this picks it up. Energy Ball. Lacey's going to pick up the last kill. That's what I call a riveting win. Wow, I probably didn't deserve to win that. I just totally screwed the pooch on that Arcanine. But holy crap. Lacey bailed me out of that so hard. But thank you guys so much for watching this battle. GG's to Ja. He brought some really nice prep. I didn't have a whole lot for that Arcanine. I don't know what I was thinking with Politoed. But, you know, that's the game sometimes. But I'm lucky I was able to claw my way out of it. So thank you guys so much for watching this battle. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like down on the like button down below, and subscribe if you guys are new, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.